Hi everybody, it's John Zagrodzky, First Selectman for the town of Darien. Today is Monday, November 17th, 2025, on a cold and windy day, but an important day because I'm standing on the platform of the Darien train station. And today is the first day that the New Haven bound platforms on the east side of the station are open for business. So if you're a commuter going into New Haven, you were able to use these new platforms today, and that's good news. So the other reason for being here is that there have been more delays in this project, and I wanted to just give everybody a quick update as to where we stand now and what we can expect going forward. So as a reminder, this is a Connecticut Department of Transportation project, like they do for many stations around the state. It was time for Darien's platforms to be replaced, and so they've taken this up. This, by the way, is a $33 million project. Fortunately, all being funded by the state of Connecticut, so no town resources are being spent on this, but it's really expensive to get this work done. This project has a few objectives. So one of them was to start to replace all these platforms. But as the project progressed, one of the things that has come up has been just the damage that's been caused over time by salt. And salt, of course, is used to keep the platform safe in the winter. And if you take a look here, you can compare in this video the platforms that are new on the east side of the station here. And if we pan over a little bit here, you can see the platforms on the west side that still have to be demolished and replaced. But you can see, if you look closely, a lot of the damage that exists now, all of that was caused by salt. And the problem is, of course, these platforms were last redone in 2003, and here we are just more than 20 years later, and they all have to be replaced. And again, that's because of that damage. And so we'll splice in another video here, and you'll get to see what all they had to replace on this side in order for the platforms to be completely done. Now, the good news is that this is the first train station in Darien, or in all of Connecticut actually, where they are putting down these electrically heated platforms, which I'm standing on right now. So the platforms, the landings for the stairs, all of the stairs going down into the parking areas, all of these are electrically heated, which means no more salt going forward. So we think it's going to be a much safer station, and longer term, these platforms are going to last a lot longer, and I think save money in the end. Okay, so it's good that the platforms are opening up, but a lot of you have complained, rightly so, that this project is taking way too long. We have, in fact, had delays from the state, and there have been a number of reasons for those delays, but we've had even more delays. One source of them is what you're seeing right here. These are wooden stair rails that they've had to put in place on a temporary basis, because further down you'll see that there's some metal railings and fences down there. The company that made those went out of business, and they're having to replace the manufacturer, and they've not been able to get that manufacturer up and running. And so to not delay things further, they actually had these wooden railings fabricated. They'll be here on a temporary basis until we finally find a replacement manufacturer for those rails. Another source of delay has been other track work. So up the line here from where we're standing is Norwalk, and one of the things they're having to do is up there is to replace the walk bridge up there. That is a gigantic project for a very, very old bridge that's extraordinarily complicated. Sometimes when that work is going on, they've had to adjust the work schedule here, and it's created delays. And they try to foresee those, but they've not been able to really understand when those delays are going to come up. And that's caused this project to go on longer than has been necessary. The other thing to point out is that sometimes you'll see the project and it doesn't look like anyone's working. Well, the reason for that is that a lot of this work has to be done late at night between the hours of 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when they can shut down the power lines and actually shut down the tracks so that workers can be out there safely. And that just means that during the day or during commuter hours when the platforms are busy, it's really not safe for either commuters or for the workers to be working during those times. So they are working, and this is Exhibit A, but just not often at times that you can see them. So what does this mean in terms of dates? Well, today, November 17th, these platforms on the east side are opening up. The platforms over there for the New York bound train, again on the east side of the station, those are slated to open at the end of December, so right around the corner. When those open up, that's going to change the commuter pattern for anybody who's trying to get to New York. So I'm going to do another video that shows exactly how you get from our parking over to this platform so you won't miss your train. So another video is coming. So once that side's activated, the west platforms are going to be demolished and they're going to replace those. That should be a much faster process because they're not next to the train station, and all that's going to be a lot easier. The expectation is that those will be finished sometime this summer. And when it is finished, as I said in my previous video, this whole station is going to look a lot better. There's going to be not just new platforms, new landscaping, new lighting, all of that. A few things to point out on this renovation. If you look up here, this is all new LED lighting, so the lighting at night is going to be a lot better on this platform. And if they turn on the speakers, you'll hear that the speakers for train announcements are much, much louder and much clearer than they were with the older speakers. So that's an improvement. The other thing down there is they've replaced all the elevators, and we'll try to slot in a video or a few pictures so you can see what those look like. But they have these new hydraulic lifts in place that are going to be a lot more resistant to weather and wind and rain and all of that, and should last a lot longer, so we won't have elevators that are down for repairs. So I know this has been a frustrating project, and it's really annoying to have all the parking blockages that we have here, but I appreciate everybody's patience. One thing that we have heard criticisms about is, hey, I came to the platform and I saw these workers standing around on their phones not doing anything. When is anybody going to get to work? Well, sometimes you'll see workers standing there, and it's important because some of those workers are playing an inspection role, and it's important for them to do their work to make sure all this is done in accordance with required standards. And sometimes, by the way, that work is done on apps on their phone. So when you see them, they are actually working. It may not look like it, but I've met with the managers of the project, and they assure me that those guys are focused on what they're trying to get done. And the fact that this platform is completed that we're standing on shows that they're making progress. Lastly, I'll say that last week we had an extensive meeting with the engineers and with the project managers to just get a complete and formal update. They have set up a twice weekly call with me, so I'll be briefed on anything that might be a cause for additional delay. And if I hear of anything that looks like there might be something beyond what I've described in this video, I will definitely let you know. But again, we really appreciate everybody's patience. We are on top of this and talking to them frequently. If you have any questions, please call my office. But thanks for listening to this update.